Okay. Hey, we're getting started. This is the Philosopher King 2.0, asking you to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that other stuff. I see that my name here still has the old Twitter uh, bird. Don't put you off. You can find me on X. And of course, if you subscribe to the Philosopher King 2.0 on YouTube, that's the primary place that I'm at. Although I do have a Rumble link, I hope, somewhere coming. So this is a continuation of my live cast of about 2 days ago because there's really a lot more to be said. And I've got like 20 tabs over here. I doubt we're gonna be able to get to it all here today too. But I think we should. Let's start just by looking at that national debt, right? $38 trillion. That's the national debt. And then if you let your eyes kind of scroll down a little bit, see if the mouse points. I don't know. Nope, you can't see the mouse. U.S. total debt under unfunded debt and interest. In other words, we have, besides the actual regular spending deficits, we have pledges to spend things like Social Security in the future or whatnot, bills that we expect to come due, but they're not due quite yet. That brings us, like, in addition to the 38 trillion, there's almost 105 trillion now. The state debt, you can kind of see, is 1 trillion, and the local debt is 2 trillion. This is, in other words, this is a country that is so far in debt that just about everybody knows at this point that it can't be sustained. And then there are people who seem to know that it can't be sustained, who don't seem to give a rat's ass about it. They fight every proposed cut. We saw that with Doge, right? There was not a single thing that the Democrats could find to cut. But to be fair, there were certainly some programs that it would have been nice to see the Republicans tackle, but they're not going to do it either, right? Medicare, Medicaid. Trump went on record saying they would never touch that, but that's a huge burden right there. And one of the points that I made in the other live casts of this same topic about Trump being the Antichrist is that we have this debt, and we don't even have the things that a lot of the socialists want. They want free health care for everyone. They want free education for everyone. We don't have those things, and we're still massively in debt. Imagine what the debt would be if they tried to do that. I mean, do they know math at all? I don't think they care. I think that some of them have the belief that they can just keep juggling these balls forever, and you can just keep throwing balls in the air, and the Federal Reserve will be able to keep juggling them. No hay problema. But I think in the main, most people know something is not right. Something is not good. And if you are old enough to remember, good old Rahm Emanuel, the chief of staff for Barack Obama, who famously said, "Never let a crisis go to waste." We have a crisis that is coming, and they're not going to let it go to waste. And that, I think, is what has me a little bit worked up, a little bit concerned, a little bit worried, or I don't know if those are really the words, because I've been trying to map out what the future is going to be for quite a long time now, almost at least 25 years. That doesn't mean that I was worried per se, except for that I knew that things weren't great. But this whatever. How do you solve this? I mean, just follow me here just for a minute. What kind of measures would it be required if someone was actually going to fix this? I mean, can you imagine what it would take? So pretend that the bubble goes pop and they start saying, okay, now we're going to do what? Yeah, the commenter says just print more money. Well, that does seem to be what many of them think will work. And that's, of course, that's just going to postpone it. But eventually, well, I'm not going to get into that part of it too much because that's not what this is about. Basically, though, I guess I'll say that if you believe that we can jack up our debt forever and print more money forever and it won't be a problem, then this video is probably not for you. I'm not sure what kind of video it would be for you. Maybe Barbie meets Ken, or the Transformers fight G.I. Joe. I don't know. What's that one with the creepy jumping yellow red Teletubbies? You might want to watch the Teletubbies. You don't want to be watching this. That's yeah, that's more your spirit. So let's go back to the the opening parts of the first live stream, and I'm going to try not to repeat the things that I said 2 days ago too much. So you can just go back and look at that, and I'm trying to continue off, but we do need to kind of reset our thoughts here a little bit here so that we're kind of understanding the theme. So this is from the book of Revelation, the famous mark of the beast, right in this area here. Now, if you have watched my videos, you can tell I'm a Christian, but I don't think you have to be a Christian to have this like catch your attention. I don't think you have to be a Christian to observe that what they're describing is, for the very first time in human history, on the verge of actually being technologically possible. 2,000 years ago, when these statements were made, it was inconceivable that any entity could actually implement these kinds of measures. But today we live in a world where it's possible. 2,000 years ago, you could have mocked it. You could have said, "Oh, wow, you just believe in nonsense. That's all just faith." Well, we are well beyond faith at this point. I don't care if you're a Christian or not. This is potentially reality. So here, let's just look at it. Let's read the whole section here. This is Revelations chapter 13. Then I saw another beast rising out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence. It makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose mortal wound was healed. It performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people, and by the signs that it is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives those who dwell on earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. Also, and this is kind of the key passage here, also it causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark, that is, the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for its number is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay. All right. Now, in the first live stream on this 2 days ago on the same topic of Trump being the Antichrist, I called attention to the passage of the Genius Act, which forced stable coins to be linked to the U.S. Treasury. And I'm pretty sure I talked about Bo Hines being becoming the new executive director of maybe some department at Tether, and they have a whole new oops, let's not get ahead of ourselves. A whole new stablecoin that they're building from the ground up that's supposed to be consistent or compliant with the Genius Act. Okay, so these things are between the Genius Act and the fact that Trump's crypto guy is in the number one company for stablecoins. Pretty much means that whatever is coming, I just read between the lines, read the tea leaves, however you want to put it. They're going to use some sort of maneuver with stablecoins to reset the currency, to reset the economy. And there are some rumors coming that July 4th of 2026 would be like perfect timing for that, because it's the was that the 250th anniversary of the country, and Trump likes to go big in general, but this would be big, right? And it kind of raises a couple questions here. Well, let's just start with but why I'm concerned about this. Like, what makes me say to myself, "Oh, let's create a live cast and suggest that Trump might be the Antichrist." So the problem with the whole stablecoin thing is, if you decide to orient the whole economy around stablecoins, at the level of the government, you're just asking for trouble, right? And in the post on 2 days ago, let's see if I can find it here real quick, because this is important. But I have so many of these stupid tabs. Here we go. Because you might not know about this. This just happened. This was in September, I believe. The Communist Bank of Vietnam, still their central bank, basically deleted 86 million bank accounts because they would not, the owners of those accounts would not comply with biometric verification, right? So that is the ability and the authority that they had in Vietnam. And if suddenly we are on a stable coin economy here, that's the kind of power that the government would have here in America. They could just erase you, right? This is like the Chinese social credit score, like another illustration of the kinds of things that might happen, or what does happen, the capabilities. So if they go to a stable coin system in a bid to try to solve the debt crisis and reset the currency through debasement or whatever. I think I talked about a lot of that on the first one. Like I said, I'm going to try not to repeat myself. They're going to know they're going to know everything about you. They're going to know every transaction. They're going to be able to, it'll all be on the public ledger, right? There will be no hiding it. The government will know, of course, but theoretically, anybody who has the processing power to download the blockchain for that particular stablecoin, if they're able to link your wallet address, or however that ends up being structured, to your identity, they will know like everything. So hey, if you happen to be the kind of guy who has an account on porn.com, don't pay with your stablecoin. Like, if that's important to like people not knowing, don't do that. So I guess you're just gonna have to give up that nasty little habit of yours, they're going to know it. Everyone will know it. There will be no hiding it. And the way they'll probably implement it and give it the validity that it needs is they'll say that you can pay your taxes either in US dollars or in the stable coin. The one perhaps that Bo Hines is doing. And this level of control, this power, if you don't accept this, you're on the government blacklist, right? So long as we have currency, maybe you can get away with it. But if it becomes a cashless society, and this I think is the inevitable deployment of this system, is they'll get rid of cash and they'll say you've got to use the stable coin. Whether or not there's more than one stable coin or whatnot, I don't know, but everyone will be forced on the blockchain if they're going to do any kind of business whatsoever, from the Amish to the Mennonites to the 7-year-old who gets a $10 bill in the birthday card. It's not going to be a $10 bill. Maybe it'll be a little gift card, because that'll be the only option, right? A gift card for $10, which goes to her little wallet. And they're going to build profiles. They're going to know everything about you. They'll know your attitudes. They'll know your beliefs. They'll know who you spend time with. It'll all be correlated. They'll use AI to run it all, to generate profiles of everything. They will have pretty much as much information about you as could be had. And I think this is really, in a way, in its own way, this is a testament to the wisdom of this passage, because we don't generally think about economics as being like a religious topic, right? I'm trying not to make this religious. This is really not my goal. So let me just kind of cut to the chase. The bottom line is that all of human society, it's not a nice way of putting it, but it boils down to the financial transactions that occur within the social fabric, right? People buying and selling. When they spend money on something, they show their priorities. If you build something for sale, you show your priorities. And freedom and liberty, and that whole concept ultimately ties down to economics. It's all about, well, look at the passage, right? If we start at verse 15, halfway through verse 15 there, so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. The point is they're worshiping the beast, like this. The state, that's kind of what I think we're talking about here. Maybe the global world government, not sure, but there's idolatry at the heart of the system that's being described here. A belief that, according to this passage, that how you transact amongst each other is a testimony to your allegiance to something, right? In this case, to the beast. So can you do transactions without having an allegiance to something? I don't know. Karl Marx would seem to say no, right? But for him, it was the proletariat. It would seem that when we boil it all down close to the real brass tacks, mixing my metaphors, that freedom, liberty, freedom of speech, freedom of association, well, you choose it. It all boils down to one way or the other, the economic relations between people. So that's pretty provocative, and I think that you could chuck out Revelation 13, and you could probably still come to that conclusion. In fact, that's basically what Karl Marx did. Okay, so we'll probably come back to this if we have need to, and I'll just sort of bottom line it. Like, people are going to be watching this, saying, "Okay, does this guy really think that Trump is the Antichrist?" Okay, well, not to get too theological about it or whatnot. It's clear Trump does like to be worshipped. Um, but like they say, it's not bragging if you can do it. But this entity seems to have powers that even Trump doesn't have. Performing great signs, being able to breathe life into something. That I don't see Trump doing that. A better candidate, I think, would actually be someone like, oh, great. Here's another topic for the future. Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk can make fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people. And if you want to think of AI as the breathing life into the unliving, Elon Musk is your guy. I'm not saying that Elon Musk is the Antichrist. I don't think anyway. I'm just saying he's a better candidate for it. But having said that, what Trump does have going for him is he seems to be laying the groundwork for allowing a system for the Antichrist to flourish and to exist, right? So, for example, like the Patriot Act, right? Recently, there was it was revealed that the Biden administration spied on about a dozen, maybe, Republican senators, and I mean, that's ridiculous, right there, right? That's pretty totalitarian. But people like Massey pointed out that most of those senators, not all of them, but the ones who had been in at the time, those senators were like, well, how did this happen? Well, they voted for the Patriot Act, which basically required the telecommunications companies to be ready to hand over that information to the federal government, no questions asked, right? So the Patriot Act came as a result of 9/11 and the stupidity that resulted in that. And we gave up freedoms. We gave up liberties as a result of the passage of the Patriot Act, and our Congress keeps posting it, or keeps extending it. But does that mean that those people are like intrinsically bad people or evil or wicked or whatever? Are they in some sort of big global plot? I don't think so. But the problem is, and just again, to return to the example of the senator, when you pass a law like that, which gives sweeping powers to the government, the assumption is that the government would never abuse it. And do you realize how stupid you must be at this point to think that something could be passed, a power could be given to the government that won't be abused? I mean, if you believe that, you might actually be the dumbest person in the world. Take a picture, send it to me. I will make a meme. I think at this point, even if you like hate Trump or you hate Biden, either way, it proves the point that the government, whoever's in charge of the government, whether it's your guy or their guy, someone's going to abuse those powers and authorities. Now, for a libertarian like myself, the conclusion that you draw from that is stop giving the government all those powers. Dumbass. Just don't understand. But people will keep doing it. And in the same way, I foresee that the crisis of the debt is going to spiral out of control. And Trump is going to be like, hey, I've already laid the groundwork for fixing it. This will be my great legacy. I am going to solve the national debt problem once and for all. I've got this Genius Act. I've got stable coins. We're going to revalue gold, maybe revalue Bitcoin, and voila, it'll be done. Yeah, people are going to have to, like every single person in the world is now going to have a cell phone and submit themselves to being tracked by GPS and have all their transactions recorded on the ledger and basically give up privacy in every conceivable way. I like Trump. I actually do. Don't get me wrong. Man, that's kind of ridiculous talking to making a whole live cast about Trump as Antichrist and then saying, "Oh, I kind of like the guy. Maybe something's wrong with me." I'll just have another drink of rum and give it no more thought. Anyway, I don't think Trump is really a he's very intelligent. I think he must know, but I don't. He must not also. He also must not know that he will die and he will turn over the keys to the kingdom to somebody else, and probably a Republican will win after him. Probably. But we don't know what the world will be like in 4 years. Just imagine life in 2016. A lot of the noobs might not have ever conceived of a global pandemic as a possibility, but that was on my bingo list as a possibility, at least. Eventually, there will be a person that comes along that is not going to utilize these powers in a way that Republicans would approve of. That seems to me almost inevitable. Eventually, a Democrat will win. It could be even worse. A communist might win. Pardon the redundancy. At any rate, these you can't assume that the people who use these powers are going to be the kind of people that you approve of. So let's talk about who those people are a little bit and why I'm concerned. So I don't know if I've made it clear or not that probably Trump is not the Antichrist. We'll say 90% unlikely. But I would say 80% likely that he is building a system that will be very useful to whomever the Antichrist ends up being. And if you don't believe in the Antichrist, it's still going to be 80% useful to whatever tyrant finally gains hold of these tools. So translate it in however you want. So let's get into some of this other stuff here that I have prepared. And feel free to leave questions or comments. I know I can get on a roll, but I like hearing other people talk too. I'm drinking rum tonight. It's dulling the pain. All right, so where do we begin? So I think that if we had to begin, it would be with like thinking through the logic of what's going to come. Let's just make a jump here. I guess I don't really know. I didn't really think through how I was going to tie all of this together. We'll start with this guy, Yuval Noah Harari. Okay, The Rise of the Useless Class. The most important question in 21st century economics may well be, what should we do with all the superfluous people once we have highly intelligent, non-conscious algorithms that can do almost everything better than humans? Yeah, so you can see this is an article that I found on the internet. You can find it as well. This dude has videos, interviews, but they're heading headlong into this AI stuff without with like a passing concern about the impact on actual humanity, but not really concerned. There's constant talk about in the stock market right now about whether or not there's an AI bubble, and that tells you that money is just flying in from all over the place into every company that has even the tangential uh, connection to the AI enterprise. They're going to implement AI. You know, like the lesson from Jurassic Park. What you remember what it was? Um, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do something. Like no one's asking that question. They're just building this stuff. They don't they might say sort of like this guy actually that it could negatively impact a lot of people, but they're just going to keep doing it. They're going to do it. It's inevitable. They can't not do it. And Elon Musk, I mean, I love the guy. There's so many good things about him. We would not have free speech at all right now if not for the fact that he acquired X, et cetera, et cetera. But that is a guy who has no filters when it comes to like AI. He's gonna push AI to the limits. He has um no checks and balances in his head about how far to take AI. He's just gonna do it, and he's ostensibly on our side, on my side. And if he's not gonna stop, then the psychos on the left or the socialists or whatever, they're not gonna stop. This Harari guy, he's not gonna stop. Oh yeah, I don't want to get too deep into that, I guess. Okay, so in other words, we're going to result the the logical conclusion to that if of what I just said is that we will arrive at a point in this country where there will be tens of millions of people who are like just what Harari says, absolutely superfluous, right? They will have nothing to add to the community. They won't. There's no way you can possibly employ them because any skills that they may have been replicated by AI, right? And if all of them go on drugs and commit suicide or start shooting up schools or whatever, out of desperation, they're not gonna wring their hands about it and want to say, "Oh, how did this happen?" No, they'll just do something stupid. They'll never put two and two together. But a guy that did put two and two together is this guy. Okay. Daniel Meisler, or whatever. And I don't want to pick on this guy. Because I think possibly, even though as I read through this article, like you see the first paragraph, he says he's excited about the concept of universal basic income, whereas I'm like disgusted by the whole idea. But as you read the article, it's clear. Like if you go all the way down to the bottom here. Oh, idiot! Sorry. Get rid of that. All the way down to the bottom. Whenever you think of basic income, keep this in mind. It's a great idea, but there's a blade on the handle. Yeah. So anyway, let's just look at his logic here a little bit. This is the section that we're looking at here. The consensus among many experts is that this isn't just a nice idea, but that it's about to be essential. Right? It's going to be essential. UBI. It's going to be essential because all these people are not going to be able to find jobs, right? So you're going to have to give them some way to survive, theoretically. The problem is that there are too many people and the jobs are getting automated away. So we need to be able to create value in ways other than performing basic tasks like transporting things from A to B or doing basic management tasks that can be done better by computers. And here's the problem in the simplest form: more and more people, fewer and fewer jobs. Something has to give. In other words, population control. And he does say this explicitly here. Where was somewhere in here? He comes out, pretty much says that any implementation of UBI is going to necessitate population control, and this basically sums it up. There will be proposals to limit children of people who only have basic income requirements for having kids over a certain number, rating the value contributed to society for additional kids, etc. I don't see how this won't happen. And so my point is, I don't know if he likes this or not. I mean, like I said, he did open up his paragraph by saying that he thinks the UBI would be great. And I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to pick on the guy. I've seen many comments on Reddit or X or other places on the internet that have basically made similar statements. Maybe not like whole essays like this, but if you read widely enough, you will see these sentiments expressed in different ways. Because the bottom line is if you have a large population that's just sitting around doing nothing, the only way those people are going to become desperate if they have no way of providing for themselves. And so the elites are going to provide for them. Right? Now the stable coins provide a very, very useful mechanism for this, right? Because if you wanted a UBI, you don't have to a stablecoin based UBI. You don't have to raise taxes or whatnot to afford it. It's like our commenter said at the very beginning: you just print more money. And I have a little link here. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I mentioned this in the first post, a first live cast on this. So PayPal, with I don't know how, a couple clicks or whatever, accidentally created 300 trillion in stablecoin. And that was just last week. Right? Yeah. That's how easy it is. Right? So if everybody's got their phones, they got their wallets, the government's got everyone's profile all set up. They know exactly where everyone is. They know who they are. They know what their interests are and what their value added proposition is to society, or their burden to society, or whatever. They don't have to do anything more than click a few buttons, and all the stablecoin that is necessary will just end up in people's pockets, right? But as the guy says, Daniel Meissner here, basically, eventually, you still kind of run up against reality, right? You might have provided a way for a lot of these people to not die of starvation, but they're not all going to be like artists. Like You know what I mean? Like this is the dream of the UBI, right? We're gonna give everybody a guaranteed basic income, which is actually technically a little bit different, but uh, yeah, and then they're gonna sit around in their toga robes and paint. We're gonna unlock their artistic talent, and they'll be like the next Leonardo da Vinci, right? And they would be the Leonardo da Vinci right now, except for they gotta go work at the school as a janitor or whatever, right? So we're gonna unlock all this human potential. But tacitly we know, like anyone who is even halfway observant about the real world knows that that is not how it's going to go down. There are people right now who are receiving all that they need to survive from the government, and trust me, they are not the next Picasso. They're not. They're not using their freedoms from having to go work to generate high class literature or I'm sorry. This is just the whole idea makes me laugh. I mean, who make these comments. I'm like, have you seen people? Have you seen the people who are receiving welfare? Yeah, okay. Social safety net. There are people out there who need some help. Okay, good people can agree or disagree on how best to help them, but that's not the bulk of them, right? I just saw a video on posted on X about a woman who didn't know how she was going to be able to survive the government shutdown because of she's not given the going to get the food assistance, and like there's no indication whatsoever in the video that she might get a job, you know that just was not on her bingo list. Just so there's going to be people like that. There's going to be a lot of people like that. And this guy, to his credit, Daniel Meisler, um, really kind of calls that out. And I think anyone who is honest is going to make the same observation as well. So stick with me here. Okay, stick with me. I am going somewhere with this. But I just wanted to call attention to another article that he posted. Um, and he actually referenced the Harari's Useless Class as well. I actually have this book. I have a couple of Harari's books, so I know exactly what these guys are thinking. Oh yeah, not gonna get anything past this guy. Anyway, this was posted in August of this year, and if you want to find it, especially if you happen to be somebody going into the tech field or is already in the tech field, um, yeah, his observation. This guy is like an A. Let's see. Let's go to his about page here real quick. He's a cybersecurity and AI engineer. Yeah, so that's his wheelhouse. So the people he's talking about that are very talented or whatnot, these are going to be like computers and programmers and stuff. These are people who've been making over 100K, 200K in tech or tech adjacent, and they can't find work. I mean, they can barely get interviews. And when I say a ton, I mean multiple dozen that I either know or I'm 1 degree separated from. And these are not low skill people, and they can't get jobs. And that's actually I resonate with this. I'm not going to be as well connected as this guy, but I do know a guy one step removed, 1 degree separated, who worked for Dell for many, many years and was just retired by the company, retired like fired, because the company said they were going to replace them with AI. So, like, I don't think they're making this up. So he goes in and talks about the tech layoffs, but this is really not my point here. He talks about the Harari thing. Like I said, where's the Maybe I just need to keep going. The part that scares him. Where is it? This is a longer video than I realized here. Maybe I only skinned it a little bit. All right. Well, I'm not gonna belabor it too much. We'll just look at his little summary here because I think he's pretty he's right on point. I think everything's too expensive, getting worse. We already have multiple layoffs. He thinks it's going to be likely accelerating. I think also too. This speaks to my point that they're going to be pushing AI. No matter the cost, billions are being spent on replacing our 100 million knowledge workers with AI. Yeah, people are going into debt. Collective mental health, fragmented media. Yeah. No longer have a shared understanding of reality, no doubt. And then yes, of course, the U.S. debt. Well, the thing was that he said that yeah, right. Here we go. There's going to be calls, and this is the stuff that this is basically what I agree with. So like, it doesn't matter if you are against UBI. It doesn't matter if you are against these things. They're just going to do them. Well, that's not going to happen. Anyway, a hurried UBI implementation, nationwide bans on how do I put this? Like it's Rahm Emanuel's never let a crisis go to waste, right? It's not going to be a hurried UBI implementation. Maybe not. It's going to be more like, hey, we've been building this system. We've got the stable coins ready to go. We've linked it to the U.S. Treasuries. We've got our debt sort of managed. All you have to do is sign up for your government approved wallet address, and we will make it work one way or the other, and people will do it. Never let a crisis go to waste. And we know from COVID, right? We know this, right? That the majority of people will absolutely simply just go along with whatever the government says. Period. End of story. That's it. If the government says you have to stay in your house forever, you will find a bunch of 50-year-old blue-haired women who live with their cats who will do that. No questions asked, and they will call you the most vile things if you disagree with that at all. And this, I made fun of the 50-year-old blue-haired women, but actually it was across all of society, right? If the crisis is big enough, the people become stupid. They become dumb. They become compliant. They will just absolutely do it. They will cry out for a UBI, right? And wasn't a lot of the COVID stimulus basically a form of UBI? And they had to do it, right? The government had to do it because not that they ever really phrase it in any kind of logically coherent way, but the Constitution has a takings clause that says you can't take from somebody without giving due compensation. And so the government during the pandemic took everything from people. It took their freedom, took their liberties. For many people, it took their businesses away. And it said, we're so sorry. Here's $5,000. I hope that's all right. And the majority of people were like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, this is great. And if the governments had not done it, if Trump initially, because he was the guy in the first year, right? If Trump hadn't done it, he would have been endlessly flayed, right? Let's just be honest. It would have been the people that demanded it. And then, of course, the difference with Biden is, you didn't really have to twist that guy's arm. He was all for spending as much money as possible. But My point is, with the crisis that's coming, whatever implosion that is occurring, the people themselves are going to demand the government to step in and say, save us. It's the people's fault. It's the people's doing. And I know that COVID turned a lot of people around in terms of the direction. Like there's a lot more libertarians than there were. There's a lot of people more cynical or skeptical about government intrusions, but we're still the minority. And so, maybe you don't agree with this, but I pretty much think that if people are even 5% afraid or 10% afraid, they will give up every possible liberty in order to gain any semblance of security, even if the actual security is practically zero. And that, my friends, is the making of the worst totalitarian tyranny ever imagined, otherwise known perhaps as the Antichrist. That's a lot to pull on from this poor guy's article, and I like the article. I mean, I don't have anything wrong with that. I'm not trying to target this guy. I just thought it was very representative of the sentiment that I was trying to explore. So here's what I think, though. To go back to what this guy said about population control, I think fundamentally the problem with all of these schemes, all of these systems that they're trying to pull together and plan for a future deployment. They can't do it now, but they're building the infrastructure to do it later. The bottom line is just there's just too many people. It can't work. Like it just won't work. And for a variety of reasons. Maybe I'll come back to that point, but let me go into some videos here to help make this point a little bit. What do we start with? Let's start with this one. This is Jane Goodall, and I actually have this uploaded as a separate video to my my channel.
And then finally, we cannot hide away from human population growth because, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500 years ago.
All right, did you hear that? Let's listen to it one more time.
And then finally, we cannot hide away from human population growth because, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was
all these things wouldn't be a problem
that there was 500 years ago.
It wouldn't be a problem if we had a population like we did 500 years ago. And she basically advocated for a population of the globe of 500 million. Think about that. That's her number. That's how many people she thinks the globe should have in order for all of our systems to work in utopian glory, we'll say. Here's another one, also posted on my on the channel. Maybe I should so this was from a few years ago. This guy is now dead. We only have audio for this. There was a cartoon that he put on a PowerPoint that people duplicated. That, in other words, I built this video. This video, you can find it separately uploaded on my channel. He is a biology professor, recently died not too long ago. That well, the point that I want to make is this guy was teaching thousands of students this. Okay, so here's what he was teaching them.
This is unbelievable. Just sit and think about it. How long ago was it we passed 6 billion? We're now almost at 6.5. Another 5 years will be 7. All we can hope for is that AIDS epidemic kills a lot of Africans. They've all got it. Or even better, that Ebola mutates to be airborne, and there's a massive epidemic around the planet, killing 90% of us and knocking us back to a population density that's reasonable. Be fruitful and multiply and subdue the earth. Organized religion is the enemy, man. They have painted the path to get where we are. There it is.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what passes as science in the United States and elsewhere. So, so you've got Jane Goodall, also an she's not an anthropologist, was she? Is that what she did? The scientists, the people who are sitting around doing the math on this are like, basically, we could do a lot. We could figure out how to do it, but not with this number of people. It can't be done with this number of people, right? So, the quote by Dennis, or the article about him, was useful, I think, because it really pulled out what I think a lot of the people think who are thinking along these lines is like, yeah, a UBI is inevitable as part of this scheme, but not with this number of people, right? So here's another, kind of getting ahead of myself here. I should pause this. How do I pause it? It is paused. Okay. So I should give this a little bit of a preface here. This is the person you're going to be listening to is a guy named Dennis Meadows. He was part of a project called, the Limits of Growth. That was the name of the book in the early 1970s. He used a computer model to predict that we were all going to die, basically. And the only people who actually listened were the Chinese, who got a hold of the limits of growth and enacted their brutal depopulation program, their one-child policy, executing women for having more than one child, that kind of thing. So this is the guy that, you want to know how did that happen? Like, how did the Chinese get that idea? This is the guy that gave him the idea, and he didn't just give him the idea. It was like cloaked in science. It was math, right? And now this is a more recent video from him. And I guess I'll just let him talk. Why isn't it not playing? Here we go.
Well, since you are able to edit out all the stuff you don't like,
I think they want him to.
Honestly.
Yeah. Good thing they didn't cut this out, right?
I don't expect that we're going to avoid collapse. I'm not sure what it will look like. I mean, so I simply don't know. I have many different scenarios, but actually we don't know. It's not knowable. I mean, some huge volcano could blow up tomorrow in Indonesia, which reduces the agricultural output of the planet by 40 or 50% for 5 years. How do we know that could happen? It has happened several times in the past. So usually speaking, something which happened in the past could happen again, generally. So that could happen, or epidemics. I mean, I don't know what it will be, but in one way or another, we are so far globally. We are so far above the population and the consumption levels which can be supported by this planet that I know in one way or another it's going to come back down. So I don't hope to avoid that. I hope that it can occur in a civil way.
Okay, just this is the point. So he just said that he feels that it's inevitable for the population to decline radically, and being that being the case, his hope that it would be done humanely, somehow humanely. That's what he's saying here.
And I mean civil in a special way. Peaceful. Peace doesn't mean that everybody's happy, but it means that conflict isn't solved through violence, through force, but rather in other ways. And so that's what I hope for. That we can, I mean, the planet can support something like 1 billion people, maybe 2 billion, depending on how much liberty and how much material consumption you want to have. If you want more liberty and more consumption, you have to have fewer people. And conversely, you can have more people. I mean, we could even have 8 or 9 billion probably if we have a very strong dictatorship, which is smart. That's, unfortunately, you never have smart dictatorships. They're always stupid. So, but if you had a smart dictatorship and a low standard of living, you can have it. But we want to have freedom and we want to have a high sentence, so we're going to have 1 billion people. And we're now at 7, so we have to get back down.
Okay, so that's enough. You can find this interview yourself on the internet. I don't have this is I found this on YouTube. Okay, so this guy. So we had Jane Goodall. We got to bring it down, our population down to 500 billion. Dennis Meadows. 1 billion, 2 billion max. We've got the Dennis. What's his name again? Who I don't think is probably going to agree with this stuff, but he pulled out the logic pretty well. Daniel Missler, that any kind of UBI is going to also require massive population control measures in order to be workable. And I think that's the general consensus. And so you have to sit here and ask yourself, right? If all of these really, really smart people are thinking, in order to solve the crisis, we've got to get rid of the people, then our problem has morphed away from mere economics to something like I don't know, genocidal. I don't know what's the word that we want to use here, right? It's like I'm like, wow, how do you reconcile these things? You believe there should only be one. Dennis Meadows clearly believes that we should at most have maybe 1 billion people. How do you get to that? How do you get to that in a quote civilized way? This makes me think that as part of the plan, maybe not under Trump, but on the infrastructure that Trump builds, that a crisis will occur, and as part of that, there will be a depopulation component. I don't know what that'll look like. I don't know when it'll happen, but it's clear these people think it needs to happen. Now, I do have a video that talks a little bit more about some of this stuff. Let's get rid of Dennis Meadows for a minute. It's called They Want You Dead. It's on my channel. And I go through some of this. Yeah, there's the Pianka thing. But we also have Jeremy Warner, who that was a COVID thing. He said that one of the benefits of COVID was it was going to kill the old people. Yeah, that's right. That's what he said. One of the benefits of COVID it would kill the old people. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into that. There's another one I talk about here. Anyway, you can find this, and I kind of talk a little bit more about it. So if you wanted to go a little bit deeper into it, you certainly can. Okay, so here's the problem I think that they're trying to solve with all these extra superfluous people. The people that we're talking about, like Dennis Meadows, who's still very much alive, by the way, they think there should only be 1 billion people. They think they can probably make utopia happen if there was, 1/10 the population that we have right now. But that doesn't mean that they want to do their own plumbing. Like if their toilet gets clogged with their own shit, they don't want to plunge it. They're not the guys. They're not the ones that want to do that. If they have a very large lawn, which they probably will have, because there's now only 1 billion people, and so now they can own all these big properties because they're like the elite. They don't want to have to mow that. No. They need people. They need some portion of the superfluous, useless people that Harari talked about to come and mow their lawns and trim the hedges or whatever. You know what this is, right? It's everyone is equal, but some people are more equal than others. That's what this is. That's where they're going to take it. And you can see this a lot. We saw this a lot recently on Twitter. X. And I've seen it for a long time. I've been like monitoring this and paying attention to this kind of thing. But like recently there was like this huge thing about how we need to have illegal immigrants in this country, because otherwise who else is going to do, fill in the blank? And it was like, okay, so these people, Democrats, who are all about like, oh, we don't want to exploit people. We support the poor, the downtrodden. We're the compassionate ones. Oh, and also we need someone to come and plunge our toilets for $1 an hour, right? So there's a lot of jokes about how basically the arguments for illegal immigration out of the mouths of Democrats sound an awful lot like the arguments of slave owners, who, no coincidence, were Democrats. So actually, I have a video that really shows this really well. I have trouble not laughing when I watch it. I'll try not to here. Here it is. This was on The View, and I have this also as a I'm showing you the video that I have uploaded separately on this channel. So yeah,
and if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
there's more jobs to be
in LA, they always,
but
they don't.
Latinos are not only the only people.
I didn't mean it like that. Come on. No, I would never mean it
I
like
would
that.
I would never mean that. The hell you wouldn't. Okay, sorry, I interrupted it. These people are just so funny. Like, okay, let's watch it again. All right, I'll try to be quiet here. Just listen to what she has to say.
And if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
there's more jobs to be
in LA, they always,
but
they
Latinos
don't.
are not only the only people.
I didn't mean it like that. Come on. No, I would never mean it like that.
I'm sorry. I would never mean it like that. Who's gonna clean your toilet? right? If we kick the Latinos out. Oh, what did I like? You can all just see like this. I'm sorry. Just look at her expression, like if she realizes. Like, did I just say that out loud? This video just cracks me.
And if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that,
No.
you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying that
There's more jobs to be.
in LA, they always...
But
They don't-
Latinos are not only the
No,
only people
I didn't mean
doing
it like
that.
that. Come on. No, I
Okay.
would never mean it like that.
Yeah, sure you wouldn't. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. But there's like comments like that all over the place. So that's the problem, right? Is they always talk about how there are jobs that AI can never replicate. Okay. But those are not the tech jobs. They're the menial jobs that the elites don't want to do either. They don't want to mow their lawn. They don't want to clean up their septic stuff. They don't want to clean their houses. They they need to have that separate class of individuals. And so that's what they're going to build. They're going to depopulate the world somehow. And they're going to keep a certain section that's going to be like oh, you know what this is? This is a Brave New World, right? This is Aldous Huxley, right? You had what were they? The alphas and the gammas, maybe. So like and then they propagandized, they conditioned all the different groups to be happy with their lot in their life. So if you were a shit cleaner, you'd be conditioned so that you loved it, right? And they would make sure that there's just the right amount of shit cleaners. And then you'd have some people who would be engineers or whatever. But they balance this all out. It'd all be done by AI, I assume. So here's the reason why I think that this is like this is actually coming. Okay. I didn't really I haven't really called attention to this quite yet, but let's go to here. I see this is getting a little bit long, so Dennis Meadows, that was the guy I just showed you who, right? He says, "Oh, we got our this population's dropping to 1 billion one way or the other. Let's try to do it in a civilized way." Yeah, he's a member of the World Economic Forum, right? Do you remember that Klaus Schwab guy who recently was leading it with his you'll own nothing and be happy. So this Dennis Meadows guy, he's one of the guys that is helping to give input to the world's most powerful and connected people on how to do things. Oh, guess what? So's Yuval Noah Harari, also World Economic Forum. These people all get together and just sort of chat and stuff. And oh, hey, did you happen to notice?
And then finally, we cannot.
Oh, World
we cannot
Economic
hide away
Forum.
From human population.
Look at that. And I don't really have I don't want to get into it now, but this guy here.
Joining us now exclusively here at Post 9 is the company's chairman and CEO, Larry Fink. Larry, good to have you here. Thank
Larry
you for being
Fink,
here.
who recently went on CNBC.
And Jim will probably
trying to
ask some
pause it
questions
here.
as well, no doubt about that.
Pause.
I guess,
Just-
it seems
just
as
pause.
though things
Hey,
are
pause.
working.
Yeah, the leader of BlackRock is now also the director of a director. I think he's like the what is it? He's the interim director of the World Economic Forum, and he wants to tokenize everything. He wants to digitize everything. Well, that can't end well. Also, World Economic Forum. Do you see a trend here, right? I got into this really weird debate about this a couple weeks ago. I was complaining about how these people all get together, like the Bilderberg group and they have these like private conversations, and the guy I was talking to said, "Oh well, everyone's got to have an opportunity to meet behind closed doors and speak freely." Yeah, that's just what I want is 1,000 of the most powerful, richest people meeting together to conspire to implement whatever the hell plans that they want without any of us being able to know about it. Yeah, that's real smart. Um, anyway, so the World Economic Forum has had many, many people, many American politicians or whatnot also um, go to these events, and who knows what they're talking about in private, but we know what they're talking about in public, right? This guy in this video here, which if you want to look at, I believe he talks about in his video about how he wants to tokenize everything, and there it is, all assets. So basically, the digitization of everything. That's the stablecoin thing. That's the Genius Act thing. So maybe you don't really know what the overall implications of that could be. So I will instead point you to another video that I thought did a really good job recently, and it's worth your time to talk about. It was on Glenn Beck. Actually, let me go back here. Let me go back here. I wasn't gonna play any of the audio, but I think maybe I will play the beginning of it here real quick. Her name is Whitney Webb, is the person he's talking about.
The last time I spoke with this week's guest, the Great Reset was in full swing. Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum ruled the world. And my guest predicted that the global elites were going to use AI and transhumanism to create a new class of slaves. Now, fast forward 3 years, and it seems like Donald Trump has destroyed the WEF and ESG in America. The rest of the world is spiraling towards total government control, and AI is becoming a part of our daily lives. So what's happening now? Where does she see us now? Is the Great Reset really dead? Or have the global elites just pivoted? And what's happening with digital ID, which has just been...
Yeah, so anyway, there she is. I'm trying to get her name on here so people can look it up. I'm pretty sure her name is Whitney Webb. She's amazing. We'll just close that out though. But I don't agree with what Glenn Beck was saying there. Yeah, in some ways, Trump did deal a death blow to the WF and the whole climate initiatives and all the other stuff. But at the same time, he's building something. He's building something that I think he intends to be as part of his legacy. I think he genuinely wants to solve the debt crisis. I think he wants to be America first about it. But he's building something that will become so intrusive and so invasive that as soon as he passes from the scene, the folks at the WEF and other global elites will be able to swoop in and pick it up without missing a beat, right? And it all comes down to money, right? It's not ideology is important, right? Left, blah, blah, blah. It all comes down to the money. Who's printing it? Oh, I got a great little video here for you. Here. Yeah. Who's printing it? Who's distributing it? Who's in charge of it? Who's making the extra percent on the back end that no one ever knows about? It all comes down to one way or the other, in a way, the mark of the beast. And I just don't think Trump is capable for all of his elite. Let me rephrase that. That's not true. I think that if you put Trump in a room with Whitney Webb, he he could probably be persuaded to a lot of it. Like if he, really gave the weight to it. But I don't think he really wants to. He he's very practical. I'm trying to think of how to put this. Like I can easily see him saying yes. I hear what you're saying, but we're 38 trillion in debt, 100 trillion in unfunded liabilities. We have to go big or go home, and I'm sorry, but this is just the only way to do it. And he's got lots of people on his staff and his advisors, who are going to tell him the same thing. And he might think that he might say to himself, we can make sure that those kinds of things never happen. And I think that anyone who is an observer of human history knows that that kind of promise can simply never be made. Okay, so I covered a lot of ground in tonight's episode, and I left out so much. You can't even imagine how much stuff that I left out. But I hope that I left some breadcrumbs for you to pick up, that for you to go in to do your own research, to find out just how many people think that the Earth should be reduced to 500 million from the current 6 billion. To find out how many people think that we need a UBI, but it'll only work if we can get rid of almost 90% of the population. And how many people have learned that in their university science classes? And breadcrumbs like, okay, if we're gonna switch to stable coins as our medium of exchange, that implies necessarily that everyone is connected with some kind of device, right? You're not going to be able to hide anything about yourself. And what powers and authorities and ability to influence and control will that give anyone who has access to that information? Is just phenomenal. So I've left you these breadcrumbs to pick up and explore. And I don't know if I want to give a time frame. Well, I think that the stablecoin thing is going to happen within the next 6 to 9 months. I think Trump wants to launch it for the July 4th anniversary, the 250th anniversary of the country. But some of the other things like the depopulation event that they all very much seem to want to happen. I don't know when that's going to happen, but probably there will be a crisis. That's what I think you should watch out for. That'll be the clue. That'll be the sign. When everything seems to be collapsing, trust me, that will be the moment that they say, aha, no worries, poor little sheep. We've got the solution right here. All you have to do is give up any of the liberties that you have left, and everything will be fine. So keep your eye out for that. And in that spirit, let me just leave you with one last thing. I have it ready here, and then I'll be signing off. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know the drill. If any of you wants to sponsor this, you'd like to see a lot more content. You'd like to. I hate saying that. It seems so stupid. So would you like to see my content? If you'd like to hear my analysis as someone who's really studied these things and you've got deep pockets, I'd appreciate your help because I don't have the resources to do it on my own. But anyway, having said that, here's my sign off. This is the WEF famous commercial. You will own nothing and be happy. Well, they're just going to get rid of the billion people. So these are people who have a plan. They plan on implementing that plan. And you'd be a fool to ignore that. So I'm just going to leave it right there for the night. No one has really posted any more questions or comments, which is just fine or whatever. But if you think that I have something valuable to say, I'll go further. Don't just like and subscribe. Share this. And with that, I'm the Philosopher King 2.0 signing off. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good night.